Hello, everyone. It's another time for another episode of Shooting the Breeze, number 3, titled Heels Here, There, and Everywhere. I
Okay.
am Taker's Minion, along with my co host, MDS, Mr. Dr. Senju from
Mhm.
Japan.
Yep.
And how are you today, MDS?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. What about you, sir? I heard it was a busy night. Yes, a
It
busy
was a
night.
busy night at work last night.
Hmm.
Wasn't able to do all my prep work for today's show, so we're going to gloss over GBOF this week. I don't even want to say the name anymore because it was not great, nor was it fire.
I think it was Grande. I think it was your on your end is Grande Cojones de Fuego.
And Fuego. I mean, it went down in
And,
flames as far as I'm concerned. But
uh, on a lighter note, it did what it had to do. It
yeah,
set itself on fire. So it set itself
I was trying to remember the Buzz Lightyear statement. Now I remember the
to
heels
infinity.
here, heels there, heels fucking everywhere.
Oh, okay. Well, at least it was a good week for wrestling for the last week for this week actually, not
Yeah.
for the last week for this week.
But
And
I had a pick. You and I did our picks, and yes, I changed one of mine later in the
you
in the
cheater.
night in the nightly. I had second thoughts. That's where we hang out is in the nightly. We're the night owls around here.
Yep. And how can you switch in the last
I
minute?
start. I started changing. I started thinking, and Brock is one of those people that he's not ready to lose yet, and Vince is using him as a cash cow, so he's going to keep the belt on him, which I think is idiotic. But that's beside the point.
Well, that's beside the point. You
After
changed
seeing
it.
after seeing the match, Joe had it won. Period. End
Ah,
of story.
okay. I can see your point on that one. Well, I think it was kind of like the business end of the deal on the side because who would have known that Joe and Brock could throw a very, very good match overall storyline wise and also on the mat wise? Because,
Oh, I
well,
mean, the story and everything was beautiful.
mhm. And the mat work, the wrestling work was good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great either. But I
Yeah, it
mean,
just
I mean, you could actually see that Joe could have won that.
yeah, and Brock was he actually came to work.
Hmm. He actually
He
came to
did.
work. He showed up to work because he has an opponent. He has an opponent that he can work with,
You
other than say, let's say Cena or
Taker when Taker
yeah,
could go. You know,
yeah, in a sense. But the show did, for what it's worth, the show did what it was. And for the record, you changed the tag team Iron Man match. But mostly, I think
no,
because
what the match I changed in the picks that we did in the nightly on Saturday night with
Mhm,
Face Boss. You know who she is.
mhm,
Um, I took Brock over Joe, and
mhm,
I out of the 8 matches, I had 6 right,
mhm,
but I called exactly how Sasha Banks Alexa Bliss was going to happen.
mhm.
I
Out
even
through
think I said it here on. I even think I said it here last Friday that it was going to be either a DQ or a count out.
Mhm.
Sasha was going to get the win by DQ or count out, and Alexa was going to retain, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
The exact thing.
Well, okay. Mhm. Well, good call on that one, I guess, because on the last minute, even on last minute too, as I was dead set, but I was dead set on having a clean finish rather than a
Yeah, and
dirty kind of finish.
it turned out to
Dirty,
be a bit of a shady one.
yeah, a shady finish. But at least, but all in all, we got that one correct, where Alexa retains. So yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
kind of figured she was going to retain.
yeah. But okay, uh, for the whole GBOF, the whole Grande Cojones de Fuego, what would you say your rating would be?
Uh, C plus.
C plus. Okay, it works.
But
Well, I'll give it. I'll
I
give
have
it.
I have a harder grading scale because remember I am old school.
Okay, I think I'll be fair and just say a B minus at best. So yeah,
So we're right in the same range.
go around there and there thereabouts. Because I had a few bits of surprises where, like, let's say about Roman and Strowman ambulance match. That was violent as shit.
Yeah, it was. I think that whole crashing the ambulance into the trailer
Oh,
was somewhat of a shoot. I think only a handful of people knew. Because if you look at Kurt Angle's reaction, he's not
that
that
was
good of an actor.
mhm.
You know,
Okay.
he's. I don't think he's that good of an actor. He can't sell something that good. I'm sorry.
But the expression that he sold to you when
The
Reigns.
expression he sold to me when he saw that ambulance and the damage that was done to it was like, holy shit.
Okay. It
You
was
know,
surprising to say the least.
it wasn't, you know, it wasn't exaggerated. It was more natural looking.
Yeah, I agree. I agree because you could argue that it was a shoot where it was a spur of the moment kind of thing where okay, I think it will be more impactful if Reigns ran the car into the ambulance when he processed that kind of info. But yeah,
Yeah, I think Vince knew. Vince had to know.
probably few people had to know. Vince probably.
Vince, the ambulance service.
Mhm.
It was one of his trailers they hit. So
Yeah, because it the whole result the whole result based on that crash alone was the talk of the day for people. Was I mean was Roman turn heel at that moment? Was there a double turn in the first place? I think that's the question the people were asking
yeah,
basically
yeah. So you know,
because
he got out of the ambulance. Roman got out of the ambulance and staggered away. He
uh
didn't say anything.
yeah, he didn't say anything. And Strowman got out from there looking bloodied like hell, but he was fine and he just walked off.
Yeah, buried alive. They used blood packs on his arm. By the way, you could
Yeah.
actually see it.
hmm But well, what do you think of it? What do you think it was? Was there any double turn happening, or just
I don't
would
know. I
just
don't think
fans
so. I
fans
don't
jumping
think
to
so. I
conclusions
don't
on
think
it?
so, and my wife doesn't think so either.
Because personally, in my opinion, I don't think there's a heel or face turn or double turn in this sense. Because I think what Reigns did is kind of like a desperation maneuver, where okay, this is all the pent up aggression, all the pent up things that Strowman did for the past several months or several weeks to him. He got flipped inside an ambulance. He got injured. He got taken out. And this is one thing that he did. And everybody comes into defense saying that oh, this is where Roman turns heel.
Yeah.
It's questionable, kind of reaching, but in my opinion, it's kind of overreaching a little bit.
Were either one of them on Raw Monday?
Mm, no,
Okay.
both of them were not on Raw. Probably just to sell. Probably just to sell off
So
the
soft
damage.
injuries.
Injuries and damages and all that. But yeah, but okay, that was one of the results that was surprising to me because I thought that because I predicted that Reigns goes over. This is his time. The other surprise was actually Bray Wyatt actually winning.
Yes, he actually won a feud.
He actually won a match against Seth Rollins.
Hell, he won. He won two, from what I gather. He won Monday night too.
Yes, he
He
won
won a
on
winning
Monday
streak,
Night
two
Raw
in a
as
row.
well. So he has two in a row. And from the rumors that he's getting a push, I don't know how much of a push, but a push nonetheless is surprising to say the least. Because hey, congratulations to Bray Wyatt. You finally did something
What are
correct
they going to
this
do?
time,
Feed
I
him to
think.
Brock?
I don't think so. Please don't feed him to Brock because we actually did do this last week. We kind of said a small story where what happens if at SummerSlam the whole Brock situation happens into four-way. And imagine this week people are talking about probably on SummerSlam it will be a four-way match for the Universal Championship.
Another fuck the fans match. Okay.
I don't know whether it's fuck the fans match because because I commented
They're
on it
too
and
freaking slow. For one.
for say Strowman for say Brock and Strowman, that is if both of them are working slow. Okay.
No. Any triple threat or fatal four way,
Huh?
you don't see more than two in the ring. Very seldom do you see more than two in the ring, and one or two are laying outside on the ground, supposedly recovering from being tossed out, ran into the barricades, or hit with a chair. And they're laying on the ground going, oh, and all of a sudden, just as someone's being pinned, they spring up and yank them off.
Okay, I get the point, but it seems that the company is slowly building towards a multi-person match for both of them, like like say for example for the women's title for Raw, they're also trying to push it to that kind of area, and whether it happens or not, I'm not really sure because it's kind of up in the air right now because we already said that it's going to be an interesting few couple of weeks before SummerSlam comes forward.
Yeah, it's about what, 6
And
weeks?
and Battlegrounds is about to happen for SmackDown. So
Yeah, Battlegrounds happening a week from tomorrow, a week from Sunday.
hmm and
Oh boy.
that also is kind of like up in the air, and we can't really see what's going to happen. I mean, one possible option that we could see from on the Raw side with the Universal Championship is a four-way, because that's almost as if what they were going to build. We already talked about this. Like,
Well, yeah, and there's
like,
talk right now. There's talk right now, from what I've heard,
and
that they're going to have a multi-woman match again at
which
Battleground without Naomi.
Well, true, because they wanted to decide on
Why isn't Naomi, having a match where she's defending the goddamn title?
I think it's because in their eyes, Naomi already defended the title 3 times to Lana, which in hindsight is not really a it's not really a good decision.
Wasn't really a good idea.
Yeah, it wasn't really a good idea in the first place to begin with. But I think they wanted to avoid the fact that Carmella might cash in early on Battlegrounds. I think they wanted to stretch. And this is just an opinion. They wanted to stretch Carmella's time into slowly building her into be credible heel.
Yeah, well, they want he's got that. We got what is it? No chin,
Okay.
30 day on
James
30
Ellsworth. Okay,
yeah, 30 day suspension.
Yeah, suspension. So that's gone. But probably that's one case. That's one case that I could see. I like I said, I'm still up in the air with where SmackDown is going with going ahead into Battleground, because we already have two people who hold the contracts, Baron Corbin and Carmella. If they want,
they're both on SmackDown. Something I been wondering about and why they're not doing it is
I mean,
why are they not having it where they can cross over?
That's one good question. Why would Money in the Bank not be able to cross over from Raw and SmackDown? Make it like a cross promotional brand or something, cross promotional pay-per-view or something like that. It's still questionable. Like I said, all of this is after Great Balls of Fire. It's all up in the air because we need. The thing is, we need to see what happens on SmackDown going into Battleground and after coming out from Battleground.
Yeah.
Then we could see a little bit clearer picture on what's going to happen in SummerSlam. Because the way I see it, that's the only way that we can see any form of cohesion and any form of sensible storyline coming out from it, and we can safely predict what would happen and what would happen and whatnot.
Yeah, it's to the point. It's to the point that that they're slipping back into the old mix of, well, throw all the women in the ring that aren't the champion and let them sort it out because we got nothing for you.
Yeah, and it's bad. It's
very bad.
It's not bad. It's lazy booking. It's lazy booking and lazy building.
Shit booking as far as I'm concerned.
It's shit booking, basically. But okay,
all these women can go. All of them can go. They have carried the load.
Exactly.
Why don't they put Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks in a last woman standing match at SummerSlam?
Hell yeah, the idea is there. But I think it's because okay, if you see both women on Raw and SmackDown, women's division on both Raw and SmackDown, what's the main storyline that they have right now?
Well,
you can't answer that.
I can't answer because there really isn't any goddamn storyline.
Even if there is one or two kind of storyline, it only revolves around the titles: Naomi's title and Alexa Bliss's title.
Right, and that's they need to, like I told you, like I've said before, they need to go to a ranking system
Mhm.
and make other matches, other singles matches. You
Mhm.
know, um,
It's
give them,
it's like
10 to 15. Go back to the time limit matches for Christ's sake.
yeah. Way back in NXT, they did just that. Just kind of like, okay, you need to create rivalries between these people. You need to create some sort of competition between all of these people, because it seems to me that right now they're building all of these people. Okay, we don't have any idea for you, but I think because we want to show that women are relevant in wrestling entertainment right now, we'll toss all of you inside the four square ring and just wrestle for about 15 to 20
And that's the difference between here and over where you're at. Because I mean, actually, over there in Japan, I would assume, I don't know, you
minutes.
can tell me if I'm right or wrong,
Hmm.
that the women's matches, they have more of them. They're
Hmm.
more singles matches, and
Yep.
they all have a meaning.
Yep. Because we're going to talk about that later, because there's a term that Japanese promoters like to call King's Road. There's a term of booking they call King's Road, where you build this character from the ground up. You build him going slowly and surely to the top, and that's how you build a compelling and interesting character. We'll talk about that later on. But in
Mm.
any case, that's the vagueness of the booking on women's division on both SmackDown and Raw that we can see. But in a sense, it's still a solid week for both Raw and SmackDown. Uh, there's not there's not much bad coming out from it, not much great coming out from it either. I'm just worried about some potential futures of some talents there. Like, for example, Big Enzo and Big Cass. Although I worry more on Enzo rather than Big Cass.
I think Enzo's going to the CWC.
Probably, but
Probably going down to the cruiserweights.
probably
The thing
if
that,
the rumor.
because if he does go down there, he'll be able to
He'll
uh,
be able to work with people around his weight class.
right, and he'll also be able to his shtick will get over real good. He'll
Yeah.
probably inject some life into that division because it's sorely needed. I mean, there's really nobody. Everybody they put in front of Neville,
Hmm.
they basically have fed him. They have fed
They have
them to
fed
Neville.
Neville.
They
They have
have
fed.
fed Neville. Yes.
Yes, exactly. But here's the funny bit about CW 205 Live right now. 205 Live right now has more singles stories rather than the women's division on both
Let's see.
Raw and SmackDown.
You got Noam Dar and Cedric Alexander with you got Noam Dar with Alicia Fox and Cedric Alexander. That feud is played out.
Mhm.
It's over. It's done. There's nothing
Mhm.
really left.
We
Give
have
me a break.
Drew Gulak and Mustafa Ali coming in.
Yeah. That's running on in fumes too because Drew Gulak in his no-fly zone.
It's funny
That's what cruiserweights are known for.
flying. Okay. But hey, it's his gimmick where he doesn't want to play the no fly thing, and yet he still relies on flying. So okay,
Yeah, he
it's
does.
interesting. But okay, it's kind of like running out of fumes, but at least there's stories behind it.
Yeah, and the thing with
Yeah,
TJP that petered out real fast.
that went quite really fast. So yeah, in a sense.
Yeah,
But
well,
anyway,
I think they're in the process of rebooting him.
yeah, they're in the process of reworking him back again. So I think
He's going to be a
what
complete different character when he comes back. He's not even going to be the same person.
hopefully he gets back the name TJ Perkins rather than just TJP. I think TJP is just simple, too
Video
simple.
game, video game character,
Probably.
please. I don't. No more. No
TJ
more of
Perkins
that.
is enough. TJ Perkins is enough for me. So yeah. So yeah, in a sense. But
But
anyway.
what did you think about what happened a week ago today in New York's Madison Square Garden,
Oh.
where
Well, you mean
Kevin
AJ
Owens
Styles?
took on AJ Styles for the
Uh-huh.
U.S. Championship
Hmm.
and lost. Lost his title. Kevin Owens did.
Well, I like it. Honestly, I like it because it's a surprise, and it's a surprising thing that WWE did, and it's a surprisingly good thing that WWE did it. The
Mm-hmm.
only small nitpick that I have is what happens with the storyline between AJ Styles and Kevin Owens,
Well,
because but then when I got to the part of the nitpick, SmackDown happened, and okay, this is what's gonna happen. Kevin Owens is going to come out as this despicable heel again. So okay, it's not it's not a great kind of it's not a great kind of storyline moving forward to Battleground, but I think with Kevin Owens' ability as both a character and a wrestler against AJ Styles, who we all know is literally the phenomenal one. So I think it's going to be okay. And I do agree on what you said. It's a throwback to the old school, early 70s, early 80s, where they treat house shows as a spectacle as well as their own TV
exactly. And that's I wrote a posting about that and posted here on Cage Side, and I got a lot of negative response from that. They're like, no, the pay-per-view. And I didn't say anything to anybody. Well, now I'm going to say it. Being an old school guy myself, okay, having watched the wrestling from this since the 70s, for God's sake.
Okay.
Remembering the 10 to 20 minute time limit matches on TV where my favorite guy was always after the bad guy. My hero was always after the bad guy.
Okay.
And would come up just short on TV, only to find out the Sunday after a Friday night show or a Saturday night show, they would have interviews that I found out later were canned as I got older, but that's beside the point. They'd have interviews done where my guy went over and won, destroying the heel. And it's like, damn it, I didn't see it. And I would beg and plead to go.
But you can't.
But I couldn't.
But that's beside the point. I mean, here's the small argument about it. People are saying, let's just say that in a sense, people are saying that house shows is merely just for spectacle, just for wrestlers to let loose and fans to let loose as well. I mean, okay, I agree, because that's where the talents can connect with the various fans around the world. If they do house shows from here to here to here, let's say one point they went to Singapore, and then they went to Japan next, and then they went to England the following. So yeah,
now they're in Australia right now.
Okay, now they're in Australia. So okay, that's for example. Why not make it a one-time spectacle where people who are buying tickets just to see their favorite wrestler win? It's not a bad move per se, in a sense, because you like to see you love to see heroes come out live in front of your eyes, and suddenly they won a championship. So okay, yay, they get the recognition. Fans will love them, and if the company thinks it's not a good idea, you can just retcon it to a next TV show and just say, okay. Retcon it to the next TV show and just say, oh, this guy wins the title, but you have to return it back again. I mean, I don't know what would happen. I do think
with today's times, with the internet and Twitter and Instagram, had they not left it on AJ Styles, how would that have looked? Because I mean, the night it happened, there was video, pictures everywhere.
Yeah, true.
So
everyone has a handphone.
Everybody has almost everybody. 99%, 99.99999% of people in the world have a smartphone with a camera.
Unless you can't afford it. So okay.
Or you have a phone. Let's put it this way: 100% of the people have phones with cameras.
Fine. Okay.
Even old flip phones had freaking cameras on them.
Okay. Now you're getting it. Okay, continue on.
But so you can't. The only way they could have done it is if they had a rematch on Monday and he lost, or on Tuesday and he lost, and AJ lost it. But they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that
because they're already billing. They're already billing AJ Styles as the champion going into Battleground.
Right. So, but do we really know who his opponent's going to be? No, we don't.
No, we don't. Because remember, on SmackDown, AJ Styles is planning on bringing back the Open Challenge again.
Which was a good thing. It's a good thing.
Which is a good thing because because look what Cena did back then when he has the U.S. title and brought that up again.
Hmm.
It's it's making people go, okay, this is something like a target, a goal that I can achieve. I just need to beat Cena to get the title. Even though it's the US title, it's a title. It gains recognition for me.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Cena, as far as the old workhorse, the old elder statesman workhorse kind of thing, he pulls off he can pull off these quality matches with anyone at that time because he's defending the title. It's the US title, which again speaks for itself, but
Well,
again, it's a title.
that title has a long and rich history.
Exactly. Even though right now it's being treated as secondary or even tertiary by WWE, but it's
Well, it's
still
an
a
old
title.
it's an old NWA title. That's why.
Okay. And segueing aside, we know how Vince thinks about NWA stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
But anyhow, it's anyhow back to the discussion at hand about what I think. I think it's fine. I don't see it as a huge problem. I just see it as I just see people nitpicking on why this is bad, why this is not good for business, why this is not good for storyline's sake. Because we are already kind of just complaining about stuff and all that. So it's it's basically our opinions on how WWE does business on their own. Probably WWE thought that okay, probably this once will placate the fans who come just to see AJ Styles win. Hey, and why not give him the title? So okay, give him a title at a house show. Make
Yeah, I
that
mean, it's the thing about it is, the mystique of Madison Square Garden for years and years and
and
years. That
yes,
it was the mecca of the WWF, WWE. It still is the mecca.
yes, it is still the
It's,
grandest stage of them all, just to
yeah,
perform just to watch someone wrestle, or just to step on the ring at Madison Square Garden itself in front of thousands of fans.
right.
It's it's kind of like you transcended into something else entirely. So it's it's quite a it's just opinionated at this point in time. It's either you like it, either you like the move that WWE did by kind of putting all those fans that would come from all around the world just to watch their favorite wrestlers, and suddenly watching them win a title is a huge surprise, and a very huge and very happy surprise even. Or
Yeah.
you hate it, or you hate it, seeing that this ruins storyline, and this ruins everything story wise. This kind of throws a spanner into the works.
Well, if I can understand it from some people's point of view, but one of the comments basically told me that TV is the promotion and the house shows are supposed to forward the story, and then the pay per view is supposed to be the payoff. That's technically the formula.
That's technically the
But the thing
formula.
about it is that what the WWE is, what creative is doing in WWE right now, isn't that formula. They're not using that formula per se. The
They're
way
just
it used to work, the way it used to work back in the my time,
Mhm,
when I first started watching, was the television
mhm.
moved the story along.
Yeah,
Okay, you didn't see that 18 different combinations of tag team with the two main combatants.
yes, exactly.
They would wrestle other folks, and you would see
Mhm,
them watching from up on the ramp or
mhm,
from back behind the curtain somewhere.
mhm.
You didn't have them on watching on TVs. They would come out. You would actually see them at the curtain or standing at the top of the ramp just watching. They didn't come out and do commentary and then get themselves involved in the match.
True,
But
exactly.
then it would build up to the payoff at the quote unquote house show because that's all they had back then. They didn't have pay per view. They didn't have the only thing you could get back then was closed circuit.
Mhm.
They didn't have pay per view and the internet.
We just have live shows. We just have
Just
to buy
you
tickets.
had live shows.
Mhm,
You had the television shows, and then you had the live shows, and you knew where they were going to be every week.
mhm. Exactly. Because I think it works at that time because most of the wrestling promotions have a base, or just they put their TV shows on one place. They record everything on one area where they stick there. They just stick to that place, that studio, and then they travel around, do house shows, and those are the ones that would push the storyline forward, and then they show what the results of it on TV. So yeah.
Well, you look at the old Memphis wrestling that Jerry Lawler's talked about.
Uh-huh.
Their circuit.
Uh-huh.
3,000 miles in 6 days, and they were back. Every day of the week, twice on Sunday. Monday was TV in Memphis.
Yep.
And then they'd start the loop again.
Uh-huh. Exactly. It works at that time because it works at that time because you have a lot of these wrestling promotions, and these wrestling promotions have their own. These areas, these regions have their own wrestling promotions, and they have their own different storylines to bring. So they have to shoot at one studio, and then they travel around, going from town to town, to city, just to create more house shows and to generate interest on the product. By the time they come back to the studio and record another set of tapings, it would move the storyline forward from the house shows.
Right.
It's like you said, the move that they did currently now, where AJ Styles won the title, it's a throwback to that era. It's not something that they should do on a regular basis. I think it's just kind of like a nice, heartwarming moment to the people who still appreciate old school wrestling, 70s and 80s kind of wrestling, where regions are there, where you have a lot of options to watch. To watch the shows. Some of them would like NWA, some of them would like USWA, etc. So yeah.
Right. Well, at one point they were all under, even Vince Sr. was under the old NWA.
Exactly. Because in truth, I think it's just a matter of preference, really, whether you like it or you hate it, and you have your reasons why you don't like the move, and you have your reasons why you like the move. Some people say it's a throwback. Some people say it's nice. It's a good feeling, and it's just a way of just placating those AJ Styles fans just to watch him hold the belt.
Well, he's already held the.
He already held the WWE championship.
Yeah, the one that Jinder Mahal has right now.
Championship belt, or WWE championship.
And Kevin Owens is one title away from the Grand Slam.
Yes.
He needs a tag partner. He needs a tag partner.
He just needs a tag partner. But it could happen. But anyways, let's move on to NXT. I do believe you caught NXT. Yes.
Yeah, I did catch NXT. Boy, there was some beef in the ring that Wednesday night. 1,285 pounds of beef.
I do believe Shaq loved it.
Good God Almighty!
I do believe Shaq loved it. Watching
for all four of them, men being as big as they are, they put on an entertaining ass match. That match was good.
I mean, it's surprising. Some people say it's a poor man's version of the Shield versus the Wyatts, in a way.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? I can watch that for hours.
Yeah, you can watch that for hours, and I think it's more. This is not more of a knock on both Authors of Pain and Heavy Machinery, but it's more like, okay, this is another tag on tag, where you have beef versus beef, and you just have two Haas teams just whipping ass. That's it.
You never. I don't believe that. I find it hard to believe that Heavy Machinery has only been wrestling. Those two guys have only been wrestling for like 2 or 3 years.
I mean, yeah. Otis, Drozovic, and the other one. Who was the other one? I mean, okay, never mind. The tag team. Both of them. Both tag teams put on a good show. It's not great, but it has potential to be great.
Oh yeah. Well, next week we're going to have beef in the ring again with Heavy Machinery versus Sanity. You got Killian Dane and
Alexander Wolf facing Akam and Rezar. Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be
Odin. But I mean, it's gonna be fun because it's something new, because you don't really see dominant tag teams now, like those kind of guys, big size men who throw each other in the ring just like that. I mean,
You know, I keep
man.
looking, I keep waiting for Authors of Pain to come out with their faces painted up.
Oh yeah, but then again, they will say that totally looks like that's gonna totally look like they're going slightly in a shield mode there. But hey,
No, with face paint going, what Legion of Doom Road Warriors. I keep saying one of these days. I've said it to myself more than once. One of these days, are going to come out painted up. Those two with some kind of. It'll just be plain black. It won't be anything fancy. It'll just be black.
yep, true. Okay, but okay, let's move. I think it was an enjoyable match. It was fun. It was fun. It moved the story along, and I don't see Heavy Machinery backing out from this loss that they have.
I don't
They have. I think they have a hand to play in both Sanity and Authors of Pain next match next week. So we'll see what happens.
Well, no, wait. This week
and
coming up is
and
Killian
then
Dane. It's Killian Dane and it's two undefeated singles going against each other to see who faces
oh yeah,
Austin Aries, the wannabe Ric Flair.
uh, you had to say that.
Well, that's my opinion of him.
Wow. Okay. Point. Fair enough. Point taken. It's this week.
I'd like to see him bring that shtick up to the main roster and see how long it lasts.
Well, who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But the surprising thing about NXT for me is Bobby Fish being officially unveiled. So that's one. That's one thing.
And yet he loses his debut match to
Yeah.
Aleister Black.
I don't know whether that's a feed for Aleister Black or just NXT trying to put Bobby Fish's name out there. I mean, I know Kyle O'Reilly is there already.
Who?
It's his tag team partner from Redragon.
Okay.
Okay. So, anyways, Taker, you need to watch ROH. One or two of these days. Watch it.
I'll try.
Yeah, okay. But anyways, it's a solid week for NXT as well. And the main buzz currently this week is for the Mae Young Classic as well.
Oh
yes. So both of us watched the Parade of Champions, and the usual suspects voiced out their usual favorites,
Well, there's one that's back actually with the WWE now, that
Serena Deeb.
Serena Deeb. She left. Yeah. She was let go because of not keeping up kayfabe with the what the heck was
Straight
it?
Edge Society.
Straight Edge Society. Yes, she was caught drinking in a bar, and they immediately terminated her for it. And this is after this woman willingly shaved her head bald. That gorgeous hair, she shaved it off on live television.
I mean, and I think it's surprising to see that she actually looks okay. This is kind of like a poor taste in my mouth, but she looks prettier with hair now. I mean, okay, and never mind, but yeah, it's.
And we also have a former UFC fighter,
Shayna Baszler.
Yes.
Well, Shayna has been trained. I think Shayna has been trained by Josh Barnett back in the Indies, and based from the few clips that I watched, she's a decent talent. I'm interested in seeing her shtick come up, and if she comes up to the NXT, I'm even more interested in seeing her square up against Daria Bernardo, Sonya Deville. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's also someone there just hanging out. If you notice.
Okay.
Ronda Rousey's there. Just hanging out.
Just hanging out. Along with another partner of her, for woman. I think it was, I don't remember who it was. She had another friend of her there. But
right. It's going to be real interesting to see if Ronda gets to itch, because
who knows?
That's an ATM machine right there. I'm sorry.
Okay.
With what she did with The Rock
Hmm.
at WrestleMania in San Jose, California.
Hmm.
Oh God,
That was
that
I
was the
agree. That was
that
that
was
was
something else.
that was gold.
Yes, it was.
That was gold. She the moment was there. They struck it while it was hot, and Ronda Rousey looked better for it. Uh, sorry about her. Sorry about her loss, and then her subsequent going into hiding and then coming back, and then again
Well,
caught another loss. But
UFC. She suffered a concussion in the fight with
Mhm.
with Holm.
Was okay.
Okay, and their protocol is 6 months, no fighting.
Mhm. Okay.
She went through that, went through a camp, got herself ready for the next fight. She got
Mhm.
concussed again
Mhm.
when she got knocked out. So I have a funny feeling she's pretty much done with that business.
Wouldn't that? But okay, let's say if WWE is still interested in bringing Ronda Rousey back, shouldn't her history of getting concussed twice in the span of about a year be worrisome to them?
It should be, but if you look at it, concussions in the WWE are very, very, major concussions are very, very rare.
Uh-huh.
You look at what happened to Enzo when
Okay.
they were wrestling. Oh, who the hell was that? They were wrestling when he went through the ropes and smacked his head good.
Oh, okay,
It
who
was at a
was
pay
it?
per view.
Oh, damn. Who was it? I can't.
It was last year sometime because he was out for a good 5 6 months. No, three
I
four
think it
months.
was back when they were in NXT, correct?
It might have been.
Might have been
No, it was
because.
after they were up.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Hmm.
trying to remember where it was. Tables,
I
ladders,
can't
and
remember.
chairs.
But anyways, okay.
I don't know.
He got concussed, and Zomar got concussed.
Right.
Hmm.
I could look it up here real quick.
Nah.
Won't take me but a minute.
Well, anyway, okay. It,
Uh,
because sure, Ronda Rousey can print. Ronda Rousey is still money if you want to book her right and if you want to play to her strengths and to her characteristics correctly. But getting concussed in the span of a year twice, and that raise a little bit of red flags.
Yeah, it could be. Okay, let's see. It was in May of last year
Uh-huh.
at Payback.
Who are they facing in Payback?
Let's see, at Payback.
Sorry, folks. We are just
I'm trying to find.
this is shooting the breeze's moment to Google. This is ode to Google. We're
Yeah,
doing
not Google. I did it on. I'm trying
Bing.
to find. No, I'm doing it. I did on Yahoo.
Okay, on Yahoo. This is an
I'm
ode to
trying to see.
Yahoo.
It was in Chicago. Colin Cassidy.
Oh, okay.
They say the newest tag team, Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy. I guess that's Big Cass's big real name.
Yes, it is. Before Big Cass is known as that, he was Colin Cassidy.
It doesn't say who they were in the match with.
Well, okay. But okay, Enzo Amore got concussed on that. Okay.
Right.
Mhm.
But that's where he got cussed was last year. I thought it was last year while he was on a Raw pay-per-view.
Mhm.
So, yeah, because he slid. It was a freakish accident.
Okay.
So,
And yet still he comes back again.
right, and he's taken some heavy bumps since then.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I see your point. So someone who took care, someone like Ronda Rousey who takes care of herself.
Right. Well, you look at let's talk. If we want to talk about multiple severe concussions, let's talk about Daniel Bryan.
Oh, I knew you were gonna go there. Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, he should not wrestle. Period anymore.
And
if he's having seizures because of the concussion stuff, it's time to give it up. I know he loves it and everything, but he needs, he's got a wife and child to think about now.
Yeah, true. He has a wife and child now, and he has a kid now. So yeah, it's not really a knock, just a precaution to potential people who wants to go to wrestling and all that. Just keep just protect yourself more. It's hard to both entertain the fans and keep yourself safe at the same time. I know that. But at the same time, you need to think the bigger picture rather than just the current situation now. So yeah. But anyway, uh, the people. Okay, back to the Mayan Classic. The people, of course, the person who I want to see the most would be Kairi Sane, the pirate princess.
They're calling her Kairi Sane right now.
Kairi Sane, yes,
But
Kairi
if,
Sane,
if it's pronounced
formerly known as Kairi Hojo, and supposedly
Sane
actually, yes, you had to. So, but that she's
I
the
would
one.
I would prefer that they would use the proper pronunciation
Yeah,
and call her
true.
Sane, which is how it would be
Sane,
pronounced.
yes, correct. But WWE is gonna WWE.
You said that.
Yeah, but
I think it was a
she's
mistake. I'm not sure. We'll find out later.
yeah. But back to Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb, I see, is gonna play kind of like Tajiri's storyline back in CWC, where he's going this one less hurrah before he goes back again. I don't know. It's
That's
either
possible.
Tajiri, yeah, it's either Tajiri's line of storyline or Brian Kendrick's storyline, where he's also doing the same thing. He's just in a lot more desperate situation rather than I'm just doing it for one last time and having fun.
Yeah, I mean, all of these women that are in this thing.
The 32 women,
there are very, very few inexperienced women.
No, they're not.
You look at the one, they got the one Mexican luchadora,
Princess Suhit. Yeah.
She has been in wrestling for almost 20 years.
I think she was in CMLL, right?
Yeah, she was.
This is on your end. This is on your end of your expertise.
So no, she was in CMLL. She was also in AAA.
Uh-huh.
And I think she did one season with Lucha Underground. I may be incorrect.
Okay.
And then went free agent.
Okay.
So and now she can wrestle anywhere she wants, and she's keeping her mask.
Mm-hmm. So okay, here's my question to you.
Which I love seeing a masked woman's wrestler.
Of course you do. You have an affinity to the old school CMLLs and all stuff. So here's the question: how deep would you see Princessa go?
Maybe the third round. I don't know how they're doing this.
Okay.
I don't know if they're doing round robin where everybody's got to face everybody once.
Yeah, because the bracket hasn't been out yet. Officially.
Right, the brackets aren't out yet.
Unofficially, people are already watching the tapes, and I'm not going to spoil anything because I already got one spoiled for me, which is shitty in my opinion. But hey, I got what I got. So, but I think overall the talents there have a lot of potential. You have experience. You have people who are already 2-3 years deep in training and they look good, and you have these experienced hands who started at 16 and then go off wrestling around the world. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I mean, I'm not going to place any favorites on which, even though I am already placing favorites on Kairi herself. Well, obviously, because why? But I'm looking forward to see what happens because these 32 women are a bunch of good, talented athletes, and they deserve to be on stage, and they deserve to showcase their talents on stage. So yeah. But anyway. Woo. Okay.
I'm here. Okay. I had a technical malfunction here. Yeah. Good old MediaCom decided to bump me off.
Okay.
No. Okay. I know, like I said, I don't know how far along Princessa's going to go.
Uh-huh.
When I saw her, I was like, oh God.
Uh-huh.
But the one I'm waiting to see is the newest acquisition of NXT, and I don't want to butcher her name. It's what Kairi
Hojo and Kairi Sane for the
Kairi Sane.
Okay. For
I
me,
can't
it's
wait to see. I cannot wait to see her drop that elbow. I hear it's awesome.
it's awesome visually, both visually and both visually and as a finishing maneuver, it looks great. And among the few that I would, like I said, among the few that I will watch would be Kairi Sane. I'm also interested in watching Kaylee Ray as well. And this is going to be a funny dig. Just when I saw Dakota Kai, I already put this on Twitter. When I saw Dakota Kai, I had Bailey vibes.
Yeah, I saw that, and I looked at her. I see a cross between Bailey and Natty with the cat ear buns.
Oh my!
You forgot about that one, didn't you?
Yeah, I forgot about the buns because I'm already used to the buns. I'm already used to the buns because I already seen it.
Yeah, but that's the cat ear buns.
Please don't put her with cat ears like Nat's cat ear. Please, no. I mean, I'm already getting Bailey vibes out of Dakota Kai, even though she and her are two different people and two different characters all at the same time. Now that I know of, but if they're gonna go with the Bailey vibe, please don't.
No, please.
I mean, please don't. You already took Evie from New Zealand and turned her name into Dakota Kai. That means you have already signed her up into a developmental contract and put her. You plan on putting her into NXT.
Yep.
So please just don't. WWE, if you're listening to this, please don't. Please don't do that.
No, we don't need another butchering.
We don't need another butchering of another Bailey.
In 2 years.
In 2 years. Please don't. But anyways,
now the question is, how many of those people from the Mae Young Classic do you think we know of? At least 2. I'm sure there's more than 2 that have been signed. But how many of them are going to be signed to contracts with NXT and eventually move up to the main roster to make that roster a little stronger? Because they don't have enough women on the main roster right now, and I think they're about to deplete the NXT women's roster anyway. You've got a lot of wrestlers there that are ready to go.
True.
Yes, Metal Matt, this is for you. Peyton Rice and Billy Kay will probably come up together, but be on separate brands.
Oh, you're gonna make him happy and break his heart both at the same time.
Yes, I know.
Anyway, I see that. Okay. This is gonna be a quick one. I think about half of them would go. The obvious ones, we're gonna pull out the obvious ones like Lacey Evans. We're gonna pull out. Sage Beckett. We're gonna pull out because both of them are already signed up to developmental.
I see Tessa Blanchard being signed.
Finally, probably.
This is a golden opportunity for her.
She just needs to show that she can bring it. That's it.
Yep, she's got to bring it, and she's got to stop. She could use the entitled bratty kid thing after she's in. Because she is Tully Blanchard's daughter.
True, because the knock on her, the only nitpick that people have on her is that she doesn't bring it enough. That's it. Because she's
right.
Because people are.
I'd like to see her in the ring with Princessa.
I think that would be your own dark horses. Your own dark horse of getting signed into NXT, which is far-reaching. But who knows? Who knows? I mean,
why not have a luchadora? Why not?
Why not? Why not? I do agree. Why not? Why not? But okay. We're pulling all the obvious ones like Lacey Evans out, Rachel Evers out. Who else? Probably Sarah Logan, formerly known as Crazy Mary Dobson, because she already had the name change. She already had the name change. Just that we don't know whether she signed up to developmental yet.
Usually, if they have a name change, they're probably signed.
We're gonna jump to that conclusion if they're signed. What do you see about Kavita Devi, the only Indian female wrestler there? Is she going to be signed?
I think so. Why not? I mean, that would be that would be an opportunity missed right there.
Because, well, I see it both on a business standpoint.
Because one, she's come out of the Great Khali School.
Yes, true.
So, if he felt she was ready to come over here and do this, she's ready to move up to NXT. She's been trained very well. She's ready to move to NXT.
Mm-hmm.
And with what they're doing with Jinder Mahal right now,
okay, I could see that. I could see that. I could see the connect the dots kind of way where you can immediately, if you want to push her up to the main roster, you can immediately slot her aside with Jinder Mahal. Okay, I could see that. I could see that happening. Who knows? It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity, you could say. My dark horse would be Santana Garrett.
Okay, I don't know much about
her. She has been wrestling all over, so her experience is high. The only knockback that she has is just similar around Tessa Blanchard. The only notable thing is that she has no pedigree yet, and she has no pedigree background behind her. So
maybe they need to go spend some time over in Joshi land.
She already did.
She knows strong style. She knows it.
Let's just say that almost everyone there knows the Joshi background, basically.
Okay.
You could aside from notable exceptions like Lacey Evans, obviously, because she's a Marine, and she was a former Marine. And there's one. There's, I think it was Rain. No, not Raina G. The other one. There's this other woman who was formerly a prison constable, I think.
Her father was a prison guard.
No, she was a prison guard at a female correctional.
I don't know who that.
I forgot.
God, are we gonna have Big Boss Woman now?
Please don't.
Yes, please don't.
Please don't.
No.
You're Taker. You're making points. You're making points so that WWE listens, and then suddenly they bring this up. Please don't. You're gonna ruin everything.
Oh, thanks a lot.
It's something, but okay. Let's just say okay. Just for quickies, just for quickie sense. I think Sarah Logan has a close one. Tessa Blanchard may, if she takes this opportunity seriously. Who else? And my dark horse would be Santana Garrett, and that's it. Yeah, because I would be interested in watching every single match. It's kind of like me watching CWC back again. So yeah, I'm excited.
All right, now let's move on to
the meat of our conversation. Actually,
your education of the Gaijin.
Wait, why is it my education?
You're educating us Gaijin on some of us that don't know about Japanese style. And I've leaned on you for it. And I want you to share it with others that may not know it.
Oh,
I might stumble along here and say, they're talking about wrestling in New Japan and the women wrestling over in Japan. What are the major differences?
Well,
off the top of your head.
Well, okay. The top of our head, the one thing that we could say from the top of our head is most notably the fans.
Okay.
I mean, okay.
Is it harder to get over there as a wrestler?
Oh, it's definitely harder because let's say you're a wrestler coming in from Japan and you're starting in from Japan. If you're from there, that means you're gonna start below, and by starting at the bottom rung, you're literally starting at the bottom rung, because in Japanese wrestling itself, you have weight classes. This is something that has been touched a little bit by stateside wrestling, where you have your cruiserweights and all that, but it's so simple. It's so simple and so basic at that time, because if you're a young wrestler coming from Japan, you're gonna start at the junior heavyweight and then move up to the heavyweight. So
Okay.
that's one example. And at the same time, the fans would have to take notice of what you are and what your character is. And if they don't, they're not they're not as vocal as stateside wrestlers in a sense, where when you don't
Well,
like it, you voice
that,
out your.
that's that's one thing I did notice when they did the Beast in the East,
Hmm.
because that was in Japan,
Hmm. Correct.
and the fans are more reserved during a match.
Mhm.
It's before and after is where you get the reaction. That's what I noticed anyway.
Yeah, because what's important in a Japanese storyline is the beginning and the end. How you go there is takes a backseat just a little bit, because you're basically telling a story on the mat where these are these two characters, and you show off these two characters, this characterisms, mannerisms in the beginning. When the match follows, they wanted to see the process, and even the announcers would follow this kind of like in a sports-esque way rather than your standard stateside announce table where this is going to happen, this is going to happen, things like that. When it comes to the finish, the fans would go. The fans would slowly get more and more and more and more invested. So yeah, in one
Mhm.
sense, the fans there are more reserved, but they still have that same amount of appreciation as stateside wrestlers. I mean, some of the fans who they, if I'm not mistaken, they're called sponsors to the wrestling promotion itself. These are fans of wrestling who has a high standing, who either has a very influential figure in Japan, or they're pretty rich basically. For example, this one guy is a fan who literally owns one huge hospital, and they will kind of show their fans appreciation to these wrestlers by bringing them to dinners and give free stuff, or just kind of like that. Bring dinners, drink together, mingle around, just like a
Like
friend, just like what friends do,
what
basically.
friends do, or like business associates would do.
Yes, would do something like that, but
Wow.
in a less formal way. I mean, I think it has been touched by. I think it's been touched uh, among a few among a few stateside wrestlers who went to Japan for about 3 or 4 months just to wrestle in NJPW, and that's what happened. I think Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows told a wonderful story about these sponsors who are fans of wrestling, and how they were basically treated like like a celebrity basically.
Hmm.
And one
But you
notable.
said something about sponsors. Would the wrestlers actually wear advertisement on their tights like Brock
uh
Lesnar does?
no, they can, but I don't. But most of the time they don't do that. Just, it's more on the behind the scenes. They don't want to know. The thing about Japanese sponsors for the wrestling is that they don't want people to know that they're fans of the product, but they're still fans. They just want to stay behind the scenes. This is how I show my appreciation. I'm just gonna take you out to dinner. I'm just gonna take all of you guys out for drinks, sake, sushi, or something like that.
No,
It's
wow.
it's it's kind of like you're being treated nicely, but the process there, the path there is very, very hard, because you have these you have because when you start from the ground up, you're gonna start basically at a wrestling dojo, and based on what most of the people are telling stories about these wrestling dojos, they are tough. You need to earn your respect there, and by earning respect, you really need to do that. There's no such thing as I'm better than you. Uh, there's no such thing as I'm okay. I don't need this. I don't need you to tell me what to do. No, you need to learn. You need to cut your teeth basically there. And when the local wrestlers or local trainers know that you're cutting your teeth along with them, then the process of learning happens. Then they'll tell you, okay, this is what you're gonna do. This is what you're gonna do. Basically, you're gonna earn respect there first before. they can give you the respect back. It's and in a sense, you have a lot more bonding. You have a lot more bonding there. So yeah, basically
Oh,
that's another difference that I could say, because I don't know what goes on behind a stateside wrestling backstage, or probably just off screen. The only thing that I know is off from reality TV like Total Divas, and that is not a very good example on why. It's
no.
just, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, how am I supposed to say this? Uh, in At a Japanese wrestling promotion, you're more close knit in a sense. They
I
really.
understand exactly what you're saying there.
Mhm,
Um, even because when they talk about, let's talk about Finn Balor for a minute.
mhm.
He was over there for what, three,
I
four
think he
years,
was there. I think he was about 3-4 years. Yeah.
and in one of his specials they had on the network, he was talking about that, and he said every night when the training was done,
Hmm.
him and all the rookies, so to speak,
Hmm.
scrubbed the mats in the dojo. Had to
Yep.
clean everything before they could even go eat.
Yep.
After being
True.
basically thrown around like rag dolls. Is this
Hmm.
how to get the respect that they were after?
Hmm.
So that's a true fact.
Yeah, true. It is because uh, basically it's like your wrestling school back in the States. These wrestling dojos, you're gonna stay at if you don't have any accommodations there, you can stay at the dojo, but you have to, basically you're staying there, and then you have to clean, you have to just put up the mats, clean up the toilets every single time. It's just basically like you're staying at a dorm, and the dorm is also the
Uh,
place where you train. So in a sense, it it's kind of like your basic wrestling school in stateside, as far as
God
I
forbid they don't. God forbid they have a military type inspection when it's all done.
know. I hope not. As far as research goes, it. I don't think it's kind of.
Because
I don't
I
think it
know, I
goes.
know, one thing I've noticed about Japanese culture myself
Mhm.
is that you're very orderly,
Yes,
and if things are
because
not in order, it can cause an issue.
we're not that meticulous about. Okay, this stuff has to go here. If it goes an inch off, you're in trouble, buddy. No, that's
I know some that are like that, both
that's
Japanese
that's.
and Americans and other,
Mhm, mhm. There, it's extreme nitpicking at best, but yes, uh, because basically Japanese culture has this mentality where everything has to be in harmony and yet still looks in order with each other.
right,
So,
right. The whole
so
feng shui thing.
feng shui is Chinese, my friend. So yeah,
Excuse me. I
excuse.
apologize.
But it's similar to that, but it's more like you're integrating both an artistic sense and also a practical sense.
Okay.
And it carries forward not just with you in nature, but your interaction with people. You have to respect people. You have to show respect to the elders. You have to show that, okay, I respect you. You have to give respect to them first before they give back, and that's exactly what they have in down there in Japanese wrestling. It shows. I mean, yeah, it shows basically. That's one of
Now,
the different.
what is strong style?
What is strong style?
People
Well,
people that say, "Oh, that's strong style." What I know Nakamura is strong style because he'll rattle your teeth if you let him.
mhm. Okay,
As will my goddess Asuka, but that's another horse.
that's another different story altogether. But okay, uh, to put it in a layman's term, it's a combination of judo and mixed martial arts. With a you have a slight focus on submission wrestling,
Mm.
and But okay, but people will associate strong style the most by wrestlers hitting each other with actual striking.
So
Basically,
there's a you said it's a combination of judo and you said MMA, right?
judo, yes, and mixed martial arts. Basically,
Okay.
the basis is throwing. You throw people.
Okay.
You throw people in a way that looks convincing, and
But
you replace your punches. You replace your punches with strikes, like chops, elbows, knees, and kicks.
and
If
they
you
tend
notice,
to make more they tend
yes,
to make more actual contact.
yes, without
Whereas here it doesn't. It's contact, but it's very light. Where over there it's more
contact, and it looks
contact, and it looks
devastating.
more real.
It looks devastating
Right.
because you replace your standard punches, you replace your standard potato punches with slaps, strikes with the knee, strikes with the elbows, and kicks,
Right.
because those give the biggest area surface area contact, and yet still
Right.
looks
Well, you
damaging.
see that if some of you watch CMLL on Friday nights on the internet,
Mhm.
you have two luchadors go to the center of the ring and just start slapping the piss out of each other on the chest. And I mean, and they're standing there, and then all of a sudden you see one lick his hand into it, and it's just like, my God, and you can hear it, and then you look and they're all red and bruised and
Mhm.
welted up, and it's like,
Mhm.
good God Almighty.
Yep. And okay, and most of the time it emphasizes more on submission and technical wrestling, so you see a lot more moves, you see a lot more move sets and signature moves where you put your opponent down on the mat and lock him in a submission, and really lock him in submission and look make it look believable in a sense. And most strong styles have at least one big match finish, big finishing maneuvers that really looks impactful, really looks strong, and really kills your opponent down. Basically, it's not your normal finishers. It's not your normal finishing maneuvers. It's uh
Well,
how-
it's like Shinsuke's Kinshasa knee,
yes, that
something
knee
like
looks, yeah,
that.
Kinshasa.
That knee strike looks devastating as hell.
Mhm. But a lot of people say that actually is safe for him, for
Well, he
both
knows how to.
him and for, yeah, because he knows how to strike it in a way that looks devastating, but at the same time it provides safety for the other person receiving it.
And
So
WWE, if you are listening to this, get rid of the artist gimmick and bring back the King of Strong Style. God damn it!
you're gonna segue that to this to just, okay, if you are listening, please, Shinsuke Nakamura needs to be the king of strong style, period. That's
Exactly.
it.
Period. That's it.
Yeah, okay, fair point, because
This artist gimmick just don't work.
okay, segueing a little bit to about Shinsuke. He's he's one example of where you start at the bottom and then you work at the top. There's a term I used earlier which I used earlier, that's called King's Road. Uh, it's heavily centered on telling deep stories, emphasizing emotion and technique. Basically, King's Road is the closest. I think if you want to compare it, it's the closest equivalent to North American wrestling pre Hulkamania. I think, if I'm not correct, if I'm not wrong,
So you're basically
because
saying it was a ranking. It's a rankings type deal.
no,
You move up
yeah, yes,
the line.
you move up the line, and as you move up the line, you actually move in weight class, because you're gonna start light. Basically, you're gonna start at junior, where you're gonna learn, as well as you're gonna pull off basic wrestling maneuvers. You're gonna put out small technical wrestling matches, and when you get over with the fans there, and you win a couple of matches, you slowly move up in rank. And combine that with the style of booking that Kings Road, where you have a feeling out period at the beginning, because they have these three distinct phases. One is the feeling out period, the second is the body of the work, and then the last is strong decisive finish.
Okay.
The King's Road basically is like that because if you compare it with North American wrestling at the time, you have these wrestling matches where these two wrestlers come out. They'll pull off these simple, easy moves like you throw your opponent at the ropes, you do a clothesline, you put him in a simple headlock or something like that. Those are the feeling out period. Then the body is where you hit these big moves first. You hit these power moves and you want to wear them out. This is where you draw your story. How you're gonna put out your babyface in peril story. How you're gonna make the heel look believable and grading as a heel. This is your middle part, and the finish is the finish basically. So yeah, it's gonna start.
That's a simple match. It's
Yeah,
called
that's a
King's
simple
Road
match.
Booking.
King's Road booking, and in Japanese wrestling, they really emphasize this. I in a sense that they want to know these two people. They really want to know how these two wrestlers interact with one another. They feel themselves out, and then when they get a good feel, they get a good know-how, and okay, I know what you're gonna do. And the other also knows, oh, I know what you're going to do as well. So they're going to throw these moves and all that. So, in a sense, you kind of see that as well in current Japanese promotions. The closest would be the simple closest thing would be watching the current Kazuchika Okada versus Cody, which does go out in that kind of line
Oh
because
wow.
you have these two wrestlers who don't know each other. Yeah, both of them are champions. So they have the filling out period in the beginning, and then they throw the big moves, and then they throw the stories, basically the storyline on the middle, and then when Kazuchika Okada throws the Rainmaker on Cody, that's the finish.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Well,
and
the fans you say are you say it's harder for a face or well I don't know how easy is it for a heel quote unquote heel over there to get the anger advisement of
okay.
the crowd.
Okay. When you say that when you say that the Japanese fans here are reserved, yes, they are reserved. They will boo. They will boo. They will voice out their opinions. Not like how you see stateside fans go, "Oh, I hate you, boo," and you do these chants and all that. No, in the beginning, you have these people who will just you have these fans who just watch, go silent, and when they pull off the story, big moves and all that, they'll clap their hands, and that's it. And then they'll stop it and they'll pause it and they'll watch again. And then when it comes to the finish, they'll get excited and watch whether the face gets over or whether the face gets beaten up by a heel. They'll react accordingly, but still in a very reserved way. I think it's about in the year 2000, in the early 2000s, where Japanese fans are more treated to stateside wrestling, United States style, Western style wrestling a lot more. So they're also picking up on chantings. They're also picking up on just uh, letting out your emotions in the audience's seat. But still, you can see a little bit of reservation still in there.
One question I have is what's the significance of the streamers with a championship match?
Streamers, I I think it's more. I think it's more just on the fan side perspective of things. I think because I do. It's just this is just my personal opinion. I think it started stateside, and then Japanese wrestling carried that stateside to uh, NJPW because they wanted to make it a wrestling spectacle. Because over here, uh, wrestling is treated as an actual sport where it's not sports entertainment, it's a sport. It's a
Athletic event.
professional, yeah, it's a professional athletic event. You treat this seriously, and when you treat this seriously, sometimes you need to present it as such. It's like a sporting event. And initially, yes, it does start off as that. But when, like I said, when the early 2000s, I think it was when more exposure on the stateside wrestling comes out. All these influences from Western wrestling comes back into Japanese wrestling, and I don't know whether I'm correct on this or not. I think it started off. I think this process of throwing streamers started off back in stateside, then carried over to Japanese. I may be wrong. I may be wrong.
So I've never, in all of the years I've watched it and been involved, watched it and followed it here, I've never seen it here.
True.
So I couldn't tell you one way or the other.
Yeah, but I can agree with you. Fans over here behave really, really differently than fans over there stateside, I believe. I mean, Japanese fans really don't boo someone very often. No, they won't boo. They won't boo.
Didn't NJPW, before they came over here for their show with ROH down in Long Beach, they actually were putting out short little videos of how to act at one of their shows.
Well, okay. It's more.
They didn't want you standing on your chair. They didn't want you really standing up.
I heard that. It's more like, I think it's more, personally, I think it's more that they don't want their wrestlers. I think NJPW doesn't want their wrestlers to kind of like feel a sort of like a culture shock when they see American fans yelling their names, cheering very loudly, standing up in front of seats. It's kind of like a culture shock for them, because you have to understand that some of these Japanese wrestlers have never gone out to wrestle outside from Japan.
That's true.
You almost rarely never hear people. You almost rarely never hear people go, "Oh, this is Yoshitatsu. This is Mitsuharu Misawa. This is Hiroshi Tanahashi." You almost never hear that before this, but when they carried over to the States, okay, their names are carried out and all that. So in a sense, I think it's more to protect their own wrestlers so as to not feel shocked by all this, because I do believe that each area fans react differently to one another. So yeah, because and like I said, they don't boo someone very often. Sure, they show oh, I hate you, displeasure, when one wrestler does something heelish or underhanded, but they don't really resort to outright booing or just name calling. No, like I said, all those happened pre-2000s, where they just clap hands, go silent. They go silent until they reach the big spots, which at point they'll go crazy about it when one wrestler uses big moves and all that. Like I said, it wasn't until the early 2000s when they take after North American fans a bit more, chanting and clapping during the right periods of the match. So yeah, and becomes more vocal support. But still, even after right now, if you compare it currently now, you will rarely hear a vocal crowd in Japan as you would during statesides. If you go to Japan now, you will see a little bit subdued, a subdued reaction, more out of their reservations towards it. So yeah, that's again one huge difference I can see basically on that.
One of these days, you're gonna have to come over here to catch a show over here. So you can actually.
It's not as if I haven't seen. It's not as if I haven't seen. Reacting to that. So yeah.
There's a big difference. I don't know if you've ever been to a show here in the States. I'm assuming not.
I haven't.
Okay. There's a big difference. There's a big difference between watching it on TV or on the network if you have it, or watching it live. The emotion when you're live is 5 times stronger. You could try to be your reserved self, but you'll get sucked up into the emotion of the crowd here. And you'll wind up doing all the things that you wouldn't do in Japan. You'll wind up doing them all because there's the emotional energy that's there here in the States from the fans and from the wrestlers. maybe a complete different animal, but I don't know. I can't speak
I
for you.
think
I'm just
it's
assuming all this stuff from
yeah. I
what
get
I've
it. I
seen
get it.
before.
I get it. I get it. I think it's more like it's more in the sense where uh, I'm not going to kind of like shoehorn or just carpet bomb this all, but I think it's more that Eastern culture is a little bit more reserved, a little bit more traditionalized, and even though we're modernized, we're still steeped into that side of traditionalism a little bit.
And I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
Yeah, it's not wrong. It's not really wrong. And uh, when it comes to the point of voicing out your opinions and voicing out your freedom of speech, you're still being very respectful on this side of the pond. I think over there, I think on your end of the pond, where you are free to boo whoever you want and cheer whoever you want, that kind of mentality hasn't reached Japan yet. Sure, we have that kind of influence, but it hasn't reached that point yet. Still, you still again you can't possibly see a Japanese fan uh, really booing or just throwing trash into the ring just because he hates this heel character that is portrayed on screen.
Yeah,
You won't see that.
you don't see that much here anymore either.
Yeah, that's true.
They've really come down on that.
That's true. But that's mostly because of regulations and all that. This is more on respect kind of level because
Well, there was also an
India.
incident. There was also an incident in New York where Shawn Michaels was hit in the head with a battery.
Oh yeah, I heard that one. I heard that one.
You
But
know, so
yeah, you
with the
have
safety of the you got the safety of the wrestlers to look at
yeah,
too.
yes. I mean, you get rowdy fans everywhere. That's an undeniable fact. As much as you control the people, as much as you control the people, you can't really 100% control them. You still get rowdy fans. You still get fans who do over the top things. So yeah.
Yeah.
And talking about over the top, uh, we have fewer boundaries here. If you want to,
Oh,
if there's
true.
one huge, if there's one
They have
huge,
color. You have color there.
yes, you have one of them is that we have color because, uh,
Don't you also have intergender?
yes, we do.
Because I
And
remember,
get this,
I think I
and
saw.
get this, yes, yes, we do have intergender, and get this, we do have intergendered death matches.
Oh, oh.
See, you have hardcore intergender wrestling matches. Some promotions here do that, where you throw a woman onto a barbed wire table, for example, or hit a woman with a barbed wire bat, for example. Yes, in the states that would come up as a shock. That is that is women beating right there, all that. But over here, it's entertainment. It's just
That would be interesting to see here. You
yeah,
know,
and people and I do believe that people will say, "Oh my God, you do not do that to a woman, you." But it happens here. It happens here. You have men fighting against
do
women.
do they have
Even
the barbed wire exploding death matches with women too?
I don't think so. I do think there is because there is that one instance where they had that kind of match, but I do
Well,
think it's from a
like
men's
I said, I saw a match once, and I don't remember the two wrestlers that were involved, but
Mhm.
they did a women did a freaking pile driver to another woman. One woman did it to another woman on a
Mhm.
freaking table, and the table didn't break, but there was a hole
Mhm.
where the other one's head smashed into. And I was like,
Oh
my
God.
God.
Yeah,
And she bled like a stuck pig.
yeah. I and okay that's one example. It's and I do believe this the fewer boundaries that we have on Japanese wrestling
Mhm.
like that, for example, it's mostly because Japan has lower sensitivities in the sense that people here don't feel as uncomfortable about the same things as people in North America, I believe. Because uh, get this, we have had a male wrestling character who is portraying a gay character, where he's wearing very tight leather. I think it was latex. I think it was latex, black latex, and the way he dresses up, clearly looks like he was playing against the gay stereotype. And the name of this wrestler is Razor Ramon Hart Gay. That's the name. Okay. And his mannerisms in the ring include him grinding his crotch on the faces of his opponents.
Oh my
He
God.
will, yeah, he
Won't
will
see
be
something
over.
like that. Well, you had something similar. I haven't seen him for a while, but you had something similar done at CMLL,
Mhm.
I think, with Big Sexy.
Mhm.
He was a wrestler who wore tights that had like a little skirt attached to him, and his mannerisms were very feminine. You know, he was portraying a homosexual character
Okay.
to the point that he was actually kissing his opponents on the lips.
Over there, I think it would be I think it would really get a huge reaction over there. But I think if you do that in Japan, they would just see it as a comedy act or just something that his character does.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
we
the
don't
same
really.
thing. That same thing they saw down in Mexico, and we have to wrap this up because right behind us is
Mhm.
Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. Yes, we were late coming on today
Yes, we kind
because
of
of
have
technical issues from my end. It turned out to be.
turned out to be.
Yeah, because I had the
But
headset hookup wrong. Oh well.
oh well. Push comes to
Yeah,
shove, we're still
Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling comes on after us at
Yep.
1 o'clock Eastern in about 3 minutes.
Yep.
And that's with us.
That's with
14 Fitzpatrick and Sal
Sal.
Cusimano.
Yes.
And then later on tonight, as far as I know, we have the 2 men, 1 sport with Crazy Chris and Curtain Jerker.
CJ and Crazy Chris will do that. Oh, before that, for any of you viewers who are listening, shout out goes to Crazy Chris's cat, who sadly passed away.
Our condolences to Crazy Chris's cat. Yes.
Yep. And condolences, and we apologize if this is more on us talking about stuff, because yes, this is us talking about stuff. The show is Shoot the Breeze, damn it. The show is Shoot the Breeze, damn it. We just
you can
talk
find me
about
at
everything.
Takers. You can find me at Takers_Minion on Twitter. You can also find me on Cage Side and mainly in the Nightly.
You can also catch me in the Nightly, and I would try and come on in daily, but okay, never mind. I'll try and jump on both. You can also catch me on Twitter at BeckyGotBank666. Please don't ask why. Please don't ask why. Please don't ask why. And if Becky Lynch suddenly comes up and say, "Why do you name yourself like that? You name Twitter handle like that?" I'm not gonna answer. I'm gonna run.
All right, guys. Y'all have fun for the rest of the day.
Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, you have a good day. You need to go get some sleep, as do I.
Yes, sir. But I think after all this coffee I'm drinking, I think I'm gonna be awake.
Okay. Have a good one. I'll see you at Nightly later.
I will see you at Nightly later as well.
All right.